Okay, so today's class we are going to discuss about importance of testing and what is the importance of Selenium automation and why we have to learn Selenium automation. There are so many tools and technologies like Java, .NET, Salesforce, Amazon Web Services. So there are so many courses and technologies are available. Okay, but to enter into software, the easiest technology is software testing. Okay, so manual or automation testing. So as part of this course, we are going to cover both manual testing and automation testing. Okay, so first let me introduce myself. I am Sudhakar. So in YouTube, I am popularly known as Selenium Sudhakar. So you can refer all my videos and everything is available in YouTube, in my YouTube channels. And so this is my contact number. Okay, and institute. So Dharmaja, she is my wife. So she is coordinating all the joining formalities, and she will get in touch with you. Dharmaja, she is my wife, and Sudharani, she is my elder sister. Both these people are get in touch with you to joining any of the formalities. So if you have any doubts or anything, you can contact these two numbers. Okay. So now let's come back to the today's topic, testing. So before going into the testing definition, okay, we have to know about, suppose if you join in any of the project, okay, so suppose you joined you joined in a project in an organization like Capgemini, Tech Mahindra, Cognizant or Infosys. You joined as a part of testing team member. Okay, so for any of the project, there will be 4 teams will be involved. So to develop a software project, so software project means Amazon.com is a website. Okay, Flipkart is a website application, and any health insurance application, that is a web application. HDFC Bank, it is a web application. ICICI Bank, this is a web application. So every web application, we can call it as a project. Okay, so for any of the project, it can be developed by 4 teams. One is BA team. See here, BA team. Second one is design team. Third one is development team and testing team. So these 4 teams will be involved to develop a project. Okay, to develop a project, it's not like that only development team, they are writing the coding. It's not like that. Okay, so once these 4 members are, so the effort will be developed by, the effort contribution comes from these 4 teams. Okay, so now let's understand what is the role of BA team. BA means business analyst. Design team means we can call it as a designers. Development team means who are actually developing the software, who are actually writing the coding. So we can develop a web application by using PHP, .NET, Java GTE applications, Salesforce applications, PeopleSoft applications, Oracle technologies. So we can use any of the technologies to develop a application, web application. And so the actual coding part, it will be done by the development team and testing team. Once that software or website is developed, whether that software is correctly working or not, it can be certified by testing team itself. Okay, without testing, we cannot predict any of the project. Okay, so for any of the software application, testing team is mandatory. Without testing, we cannot, any of the project, it cannot be developed. Okay, so that means testing is the mandatory phase in developing the project. Okay, now let's understand. So without testing, how we can predict? Suppose let's take a COVID. We are seeing COVID pandemic time. We have seen COVID. Okay, So many people, they are finding solutions. I came up with this solution. I came up with this solution. We came up with this solution. But nobody is using that medicine until unless the testing team has to certify and it has to be proved and it is 100% it is curing and this is the vaccination only you have to take. So the testing team is certifying. After that only we are using. So after clinical analysis, development, research and development, and some practical trials, and finally testing team has to sign off. Then only we are using. Actually, we are using. So for any other non-IT environments also, so testing is mandatory to calculate the quality of a particular product. So testing is mandatory. Okay, suppose there is an Amazon.in website application. I want to deliver a parcel or some order to your destination address. Suppose that functionality, it has to be tested. Is it correctly working fine or not? It has to be tested. After that only those features it can go into the production. Okay, so now let's understand what each team they will do. First, analyze that part. Okay, BA team means business analyst team, business analysts. So for any of the project, business analyst is the main role. They will interact with the client side people. Client side people means, let us say you are ICICI Bank client. You are testing a product for ICICI Bank or HDFC Bank or healthcare insurance application, some LIC insurance application. Okay, or whatever it could. So you are, yes. So BA means they will interact with the clients and they will collect the requirements. Okay, so the BA team responsibility is they will interact with the clients and what are the functionalities that you are expecting from us. So the client, he will ask some several questions and he will collect all the requirements and he will prepare some BRD and FRD documents. BRD and FRD documents. BRD and FRD documents means, BRD means business requirement documents. FRD means functional requirements documents. Suppose let us say in the Amazon application, there is only one address you can add. There is no adding of secondary address. There is no adding of third address. Something that additional features was not developed. But the same features are, additional features are available in Flipkart. So if you want to send the address, so because customer priority changed, because he changed it to new address. But while creating the account itself, whatever account has been created to that address only, you have to send it. But Flipkart, they are providing, you can add any of the address and you can send it to destination address, like that it is coming. But in Amazon website, if you want to add those new features, so client is asking, so can we add secondary address? Can we add third? So how many addresses do you want me to this application has to support? So like that, business analyst, it will interact with the clients and they will collect all the requirements and they will articulate some information and they will prepare BRD and FRD documents. BR001, adding of secondary address. BR003, okay, adding care of address. BR004, add savings account. So like that, whatever functionalities for that application is required, he will collect all that information and he will keep and he will update the BRD or FRD documents, functional requirements documents. Means those are nothing but MS Word documents. Okay, so like that, the first step will be business analysts. They will interact with the clients and they will collect the requirements. So step one is clear to everyone. Second point is design team. Design team means FRD and BRD documents, it has been collected. So from functional point of view, he collected all that information. And designers, they will prepare some documents, HLD and LLD documents. We can call it as a HLD means high level design documents. LLD means low level design documents. HLD means high level design documents means which represents some pictorial representations. So how the functionality it has to work. First sales user, he has to create some orders. Managers has to approve that one. And after that only the loan amount can be sanctioned. So how the functionality it has to work. So he will develop some pictorial representation of functional diagrams, functional flow diagrams. So just by going through that functional flow diagram, we can easily understand how the functionality it will work. Okay, and he will elaborate some description about that requirement. So, but in BRD document, it contains only short summary, only one line paragraph, two lines paragraph, but we won't get a detailed information. Okay, so that detailed information, the designers, they will closely work with the business team, business analyst people, and they will each and every requirement they can elaborate and they can write some pictorial representation of functional flow diagrams, and so that all can be described in the HLD documents, high level design documents. So it contains all high level functional flow diagrams. What are the functionalities the client is exactly expecting? So it can be represented. And LLD means low level design documents. So the development team, they have to write the conditions logic. So if it is the case, the loan amount it has to approve by sales user. So the sales user, he can able to approve up to 1 lakh to 5 lakhs only. The manager, he can able to approve the loan amount up to 30 lakhs. So like that, if else conditions, how the coding and logics, it has to write sample pseudo code. Okay, it can be described in the low level design documents. So that developers based on LLD documents, how the if else conditions, how the for loop conditions, okay, how the sample code it has been given, they can refer that the logics and they can write their coding, okay, during the development phase. Okay. So development team, they are developing the software. So they are writing the coding part by using Java GTU technologies or .NET technologies or Amazon.in web services. Okay. So any of the technologies, Salesforce, PHP, Pega. So any of the technologies, the objective is they have to develop the, they have to write the coding based on HLD documents and LLD documents. Okay. So even developers, they can also go through the BRD and FRD documents as well, so that they can clearly understand the functionality and each and everything they can clearly understand. So to develop the coding part, so the actual source for the development team is HLD and LLD documents. If they want to know the more about functionality, they can also refer BRD and FRD documents. So that's it about development team. Testing team. So once software is ready and Amazon.com, Amazon.in website is ready, and all the new features was developed, okay, and all the functionalities are developed. So first Amazon1.com, Amazon1.in, Amazon. So it will be like this application URL: Amazon dev.in, Amazon QA.in, Amazon test.in, finally Amazon.in. So Amazon.in, we can call it as a production environment. So production means live environment. Okay. Amazon dev.in means whatever code they have developed, all that code, it can be deployed into that application URL. So all that code, they will move into Amazon dev.in. Once the, so the development team, once they develop the coding part and everything is completed, they will do unit testing. Unit testing means they can check from their code point of view, all the if else conditions are perfectly working fine or not. All the code checks are correctly working fine or not. So they will check with respect to their coding, all the logics are correctly working or not. So once build is developed, development team, they will complete unit testing. Okay. So development team, they are also doing unit testing. So nothing but in testing, so we can call it as a white box testing. So who will do white box testing means developers, they will do white box testing. So nothing but unit testing. So as part of unit testing, simply they are checking their code is correctly working fine or not. All the if else conditions, for loops, and everything is correctly working or not. So just they will verify their code is working or not. And testing team. So testing team, the actual testing. So the testing team, okay, the testing team, the functionalities are correctly working fine or not. It can be tested by only testing. So creation of savings account. Suppose if it is a bank application, creation of savings account is that, suppose first creation of contact, creation of savings account. After payment is deposited and his account number, it will be activated and the status will be changed from in progress to active, and he can do deposits and withdrawals. So like that, okay, new savings account functionality. Suppose some other customer came, I want to open some recurring account, so he will navigate to some different functionalities. And if another customer is coming, he wants to develop some fixed account, so we will be navigated to some different navigation UIs. Okay, so like that for any of the web application. So the requirements from these requirements, okay, the functional flows will be identified. So functional flows will be identified. So functional flow means, in testing terminology, we can call it as a test case. Okay, so each and every functional flow we can call it as a test case. So creation of savings account, it is one test case. Creation of recurring accounts, this is one test case. Adding secondary address, this is one test case. Modify secondary address, this is one test case. So like that, from the given requirements, suppose there are, BI has developed 100 requirements. So for 100 requirements, we can write 500 test cases. So adding secondary address, adding one more address, adding how many addresses that I can able to add, how many addresses the system is allowing to create. So can I able to modify the existing address? So from a given requirement, I am identifying various functional test cases. Okay, so for each requirement, suppose requirement 001. So for that 001 requirement, I can write 3 test cases. What is the point? So 3 different functional flows I can write it. Adding, modifying, delete. Okay, search an existing address record for a particular savings customer. So whether the record is available or not, I can test it. So that means testing team job is identifying the functional flows, writing the test cases. Okay, so we need from the BRD or FR, based on BRD FRD documents, or based on HLD or LLD documents, the testing team identifies the functional flows. Okay, we will identify the test cases, and whenever the application it will come, I can test all these 500 test cases, and for each functional flow, I can create a Word document and corresponding snapshots I can place it. Adding of secondary address. See, I have created a Word document, PC01. I will create a Word document and relevant snapshots I can place it. Creation of recurring account. Refer this Word document. I can inform to my client. So it has been tested. It's correctly working. Okay. So as per the system requirement, the user cannot able to add more than 3 addresses. Suppose when I'm trying to adding 4th address, so you are able to allow only 3 addresses. That expected pop-up message is coming or not. So that snapshot also I can capture it. So TC04 system is not allowing more than 3 addresses. So I will keep that Word document, and the relevant snapshot, that expected pop-up, I can show to my client. So that means based on BRD and FRD documents, I can list out all the functional flows. I can list out all my test cases. Whenever the application URL, it will be hand over to testing team. So whatever these 500 test cases, okay, I can create a Word document. So each and every test case, it can be executed, and I can place all the relevant screenshots and documents, and I can take the snapshots. So whenever my client or BR development team, they will come, I can show my evidence. Yeah, it is proved. All the expected pop-up messages are coming perfectly, and I can certify, yes, these 100 requirements are correctly working fine. So no issues. We can move this code to Amazon.in website. Initially, you have tested in Amazon QA.in, Amazon test.in. Okay, development team, they will test their code in Amazon dev.in. Amazon dev.in, so that URL development team, they will call it as a development environment. Testing team, they will use Amazon QA.in, Amazon test.in. So these are the application URLs. It can be used by testing team. So these application URLs in testing terminology, we can call it as a test environments. So generally we can call it as an application URL. Okay. So like that. So the code, whatever code it has been developed, that Java code or whatever code, that code, it will be migrated into Amazon.in finally. Once testing all these 500 test cases are perfectly working fine in Amazon test.in, all that code, it can be migrated to Amazon.in. So after that, we can give so before moving into the code into production, all these 500 test cases successfully executed. You can refer the test evidences I have placed in the shared folder. You can refer, and we can prove that the software is correctly working fine. So that all client and BA and development team, they will agree to. So finally, UAT testing team means user acceptance testing team. So SIT and FAT testing team means, so you are part of functional testing team. Okay. So whatever test, so in testing terminology, we can call it as a SIT means system integration testing. FAT means functional acceptance testing. These two types of testing, it will be done by testing team, functional testing team. UAT testing team means once testing is completed by Cognizant or Capgemini, the next level of testing, it will be done by client side team, because ICICI Bank is, so they want to directly move the code into production. Their team also, they will test all these 500 test cases one more time. So that team, we can call it as a UAT testing team. So client side team, okay, user acceptance testing. So finally, user acceptance testing, before accepting that code, or again, all these 500 test cases, it can be executed by client side team. After that only, that code, it will be moved into production, Amazon.in. So like that. So testing team, functional testing team, they will perform these types of testing, system integration testing and functional acceptance testing. So we will discuss what are those again. So we understood the context. So to develop any of the software, these are the 4 teams will be involved. Okay. So who are developing the software? So some people, they will tell development team, they will develop the software. It is wrong. Okay. See, for any of the project, the contribution, it will be involved by 4 teams: BA team, design team, coding, development team, and testing. These 4 people involved in developing a software to successfully deliver the project into production. What is the point, everyone? Understood the context of, so you are part of testing team. Okay. So in testing team, there will be, okay, I will come to that. Testing team. So in testing team, you will be part of either manual testing team, or you will be part of either automation testing team. So, sir, based on what criteria the teams has been divided? Manual testing team, you are saying that I am part of manual testing. You are saying that I am part of automation testing. Based on what criteria it has been segregated? Suppose I told you to create savings account. You are taking every snapshot. Here you are print screenshot, you are clicking, application URL screenshot, login screenshot, creation of savings screenshot, and every snapshot you are capturing manually. And you are placing that Word document, you are taking all the snapshots manually, and you have created that Word document. So if you are creating test evidences or test execution evidences manually, that process, we can call it as a manual testing. Automation testing means you have written some script and simply you are going and running that button. After running that button, automatically a Word document, it can be created on a desktop. and all the relevant snapshots, it can be captured as per your instructions. You can navigate to the screen, you can navigate to the screen, you can navigate to the screen. So whatever instructions, coding part, whatever scripting part you have written in your program, automation program, so the relevant snapshots, it was captured in your Word document. Automatic, once you run that run button, all the snapshots and relevant snapshot, it was created for that particular test case functional flow, and a separate Word document has been created automatically. Okay, that process is known as automation testing. So that means once you are part of automation testing team, means you are not taking snapshots manually. Just you are writing scripting parts, functional flow for the given functional flow. You are writing the scripting part and you are clicking on run button so that what documents can be created and desktop automatically. So that process known as automation testing. Okay. So once you join any of the organization, you could be part of either manual testing team or you could be part of either automation testing team. Sir, which is most important? So as part of this course, we are learning both manual testing approach and automation testing approach. Sir, which is the most important part? See, nowadays in all companies, people are learning, everyone, 90–80% of the companies, they are fully dependent on manual testing team. Suppose there are 1,000 test cases are there. I requested, can you please confirm the all these 500, all these 100 requirements correctly working fine or not? I'm asking manual testing. They said 2 months I want, because daily I can able to execute 10 test cases, and in my desktop I can able to create 10 Word documents. So it will take me, for me, daily I can only execute 10 test cases. So they asked me for 2 months. So to execute all these 500 test cases, they asked me 2 months. And I asked the same question. How much time that you can take to execute all these 500 test cases? Automation testing team, I asked. They told, sir, I just want 2 days. What is the time they told? And manual testing team, what they are telling? 2 months. So definitely, which approach that I can prefer? Manual testing team or automation? Automation testing. So automation testing is the only solution. It will use the confidence very quickly on the build. If I will depend on manual testing team, so many competitors, they will come into the market and they will develop their websites and softwares accordingly as per their business requirements. They can move very fast. Whoever is using automation testing approach, because next second week onwards, I can work out on the new functionalities, and I can develop my business. I can enhance my business. So definitely, which approach I can go? Automation testing. Okay. So if I will depend on manual testing team, I cannot. I have to wait 2 months fully. Okay. So I'm not saying completely, I'm not denying completely, manual testing is 100% best. For any of the project, manual testing is also required and automation testing is also required. Because some functionalities are immediately, we cannot able to automate. Some new functionality came, and we cannot automate immediately. It might take for 3 days or 4 days. The functionality has to develop, and the functionalities are needs to be stable. To automate any of the function, to write some scripting part in the application, the functionalities in the UI, it has to be stable. If the functionalities keep on changing and the navigations are keep on changing, we cannot able to automate it. But suppose so we cannot avoid complete manual testing. Okay. So if 25% of the manual testing is required for any of the process, and 75% of the support, we have to depend on automation testing. Okay. So that we can progress and we can get the confidence on the build very quickly. Okay. Now let's analyze the next part. So once you join in a testing team, what are the roles that you can be involved as a tester? That point we need to understand. So testing team. So either you could be manual or automation, these points are common. So the job of to prove that the system is correctly working fine as per the client requirements, this sign off and certify on the product. Okay, these two things it has to done by only testing team. If testing team is not certified, your product cannot go into production. So you will be involved in going through the requirements. So you will be, so we will write the test cases. So you will be involved. So the first point is for the given requirements, we will write the test cases. Means we will identify the functional flows, and we will execution means taking the snapshots in the Word document, and we will do the execution of every functional flow, and the relevant snapshots it can be captured. So this is the activity we will be involved. So that means we will go through the BRD and FRD documents, and we will be involved in writing of tests in our test cases, and we will be involved in executing the test cases, execution of test cases. So these are the activities that you can be involved. And to prove that the system is working fine or not as per the client requirements, it has to be certified by testing team itself only. And finally, sign off and certify the completion certificate. It will be given by testing team only. And so this test completion certificate. So as part of second point, the test completion certificate, it will be prepared by your test lead. So for every 5 or 10 members, there will be one test lead. For 10 members manual and automation testing team, there will be a lead. So we will call it as a test lead. He will prepare test completion certificate. Yes, all these 500 test cases got successfully completed. All the test evidences we placed in the SharePoint. So all that information, client is whatever format he is asking, whatever client is requesting, he will prepare some summary updates and the output report summary where it is located, and every reference he will prepare test completion certificate, and he will in that test completion certificate he will confirm, yeah, sign off and certify has been completed successfully, and we can go for the next these requirements, we can move to production. Like that, he will confirm on that test completion certificate. And this is very important. During execution of your test cases, is it guaranteed that all the 500 test cases 100% it will execute? No, sometimes the functionality, some of the functionalities out of 500, there could be 10 or 20 test case functionalities, 30 functionalities, it can be failed. Suppose, please contact your system administrator, some unknown exception is coming. Okay, and after clicking on savings account, the system is redirecting to some unknown navigation. So there could be, so during executing of test case, you might face some issues. For that particular functional flow, it is not working. You have to report that issue. Okay, and you have to report that issue in the system, and we have to log those issues in the system, and we have to inform to the development team. What is the point? We have to inform to the development team or project team, so that developers again they will fix that issue, and again developers they will ask, you can test it and you can get ready your test evidence and upload into SharePoint. So he will inform again back. Okay, so as a tester, the main roles will be these two. You will be involved into going through the requirements documents. You will identify the test cases. You will execute the test cases. And during execution of test cases, if something went wrong, immediately you will log the defect. You will report that issue. This is not working. As per the requirement document, please contact me. So the system, it has to prompt, the record has been successfully created. Instead of that, the system is prompting, please contact administrator. This is not expected result. You will report that issue. So your job is, if some test case or some functional flow it is not working, immediately you have to log the defect and you have to report that issue in the system. Got the point? So like that. So generally these activities you will be involved. From day one onwards, the common activity is you need to go through the BRD and FRD documents. Until unless the functional document is not understanding, we cannot able to write the test cases, we cannot able to execute the test cases. You have to know clear picture of the application. which page I have to navigate, where I have to create the savings, where I have to create savings account customer, how I need to create recurring account. So until unless you are not able to understand the requirements, you cannot able to perform any of the steps. You cannot able to execute your test case setup. So the main important point, whether you could be manual testing or automation testing, you need to understand BRD and FRD documents. You have to depends on complete those documents. You need to understand complete functionality. Then only you can able to automate the test case. Then only you can write the scripting part. Then only you can able to run the scripting part. Okay. Until unless functionality is not clear, navigation is not clear, you cannot able to develop the test case. So the main point is you need to understand BRD and FRD documents. So from the day one onwards, whenever they will assign these documents to you, you have to go through those documents until that release is completing. Daily, at least one or twice, you need to refer those documents. Whatever modules that you are working, you have to refer those functionalities, and you should ensure that you are all the test cases, test evidences correctly capturing with the relevant